So the first tab you're going to want to look at is the Categories tab. This is where you can add different categories you want to track. You can do it per person, you can do it for your pets. You can also add in all the payment methods that you usually use. I have added a few extras just to see how everything comes through on the graphs on the dashboard. So I did leave room for 20. So if you want to add more, just keep adding them all the way down. Now let's look at the Expense Input tab. So this is where all the information goes for your medical expenses. You're going to start with the date, description, the amount you paid, the type of expense it is, and this is where those categories will self-populate. Any insurance reimbursement you received, any notes you would like to add, your method of payment. This is whether or not it's a qualifying expense. So right down here, you can see that for the vet, I've added no, because obviously I can't use my HSA to pay for vet expenses for my dog. But if I wanted to track it, I still want to put it in the spreadsheet so I can keep track of where my money is going. Over here, you're going to add whether or not it's been reimbursed from your HSA. Obviously, if you use your HSA account to pay for it, it's been reimbursed. Whether or not you have documentation, yes or no, the location of said documentation. And a lot of HSA accounts now have the functionality where you can upload a PDF of the receipt. So if yours has that, definitely utilize that because that's an awesome feature. And then this last column is whether or not it counts towards your medical deductible. So for this top one, it's a vision expense, so I changed it to no. This is all mock data, so you can change it to whatever you'd like, but just to see how everything calculates on the dashboard. So after your expenses are input, go over to the HSA dashboard tab. Here you'll enter the year that you want to look at specifically. This is your deductible. If you have an HSA, that means you have a high deductible health plan, so you can add that deductible amount there. And then here you add your beginning of plan year, and here you add your end of plan year. So this graph right here shows you your reimbursable expenses. And this is total. It's not annual, it's not monthly, it's total. HSA dollars roll over from year to year. It's not a use or lose situation like an FSA. So this $707 is the total amount of money that I have spent towards qualifying expenses that I have not reimbursed myself for per the Expense Input tab. So I could theoretically add $707 into my HSA, wait for it to clear, pull it back out, and I can still get that $707 deduction on my tax return for this year. This graph right here shows you your status of the deductible. So it shows you how much has been paid so far that counts towards this $3,000. And right now, we've only paid $595 towards our deductible, so we still have $2,400 to go until our insurer pays the majority of our expenses. This graph right here shows your overall expense per category. So out of all the information added to the expense input, these are the dollars spent in each category. And obviously, if you go back to the category tab and delete some, you'll lose that information. So feel free just to add more if you want to keep track of past expenses where your money has gone. This graph right here shows you the percent of total expenses in the selected year. So in 2022, 63% has been medical, 11% dental, and 26% has been to the vet. And then down here are the actual dollars. So the $600 for medical, $100 for dental, and $250 for the vet. This is the HSA tracker, the mock data version in Google Sheets. Again, we're going to look at the categories tab first. It gives you the same amount of entries that you can add for payment method or category. Hop over to the HSA transactions tab. And same thing here. We're going to do date, description, amount, type of expense, any insurance reimbursement. So in this example, insurance reimbursed me $50 for my $112 vision expense. Any other notes you want to add, your method of payment, is it a qualifying expense, the reimbursable amount, which will calculate the amount minus insurance reimbursement, if it's been reimbursed from your HSA, yes or no, documentation, location of documentation, and whether or not it counts towards your medical deductible. Then we hop over to the dashboard. Same selection of the year that you'd like to look at. Here's your deductible amount. And this is what it would look like for me. So for my personal plan year, it starts July 1st and it ends June 30th. So this would calculate how many qualifying expenses I've spent within these two dates. So that's what the status of the deductible will be. So every year I need to go in and change this I would change this to 2022 to 2023. Unreimbursed expenses, $770. The status of your deductible. Same thing, paid deductible, unpaid portion, so about $1,800 to go. Here in this graph, it's the annual expense per category in the selected year. So medical, dental, vision, behavioral, and vet. I did add sparkles in here. So let's change this to 2022. Boop. So there's that $250 for sparkles. Percent of total expenses overall. So here's the vet, behavioral, vision, this is the percentages, and then the overall expense per category, this is the actual amount of dollars spent. And then here is the percentage of total expenses in the selected year. So this is the percentage representation of the dollar amounts over here. And if you have an HSA, if you have a high deductible health plan, use them as much as possible, Keep track of your qualifying expenses, put that money in there. You can put it in there, pull it back out, reimburse yourself, and that is all a deduction you can put on your tax return. If you have a high deductible health plan, it is to your benefit, and happy tracking.